Hey there everybody, Professor Cloud here with our next episode of Professor Builds a Satisfactory, and I feel like this game is never going to end. We are very, very close to having the steel production facility completely made efficient. We've got one piece to take into account, and that's bringing encased industrial beams from the bottom floor to the top, as well as bringing I think it's screws or something along those lines from the iron production facility over as well. So there is going to be a little bit of logistics that are going to have to be performed. We also want to go ahead and get turbo motors up and productionized so that we can move on with the next milestone. So with that, I've got some stuff that I'm going to do between now and when you'll see me next time to go run some errands, to grab some things from some other locations. And then we'll go ahead and get working on those final pieces. And then we can start to take a look at the computer facility. So let's go ahead and jump in. Okay. Here we are back at the hub. So I ran a bunch of errands. We are going to have to figure out something for aluminum in the future, because we're just not even doing what we did. There does not appear to be a way to balance out the amount of alumina that's produced with the alumina that's needed to produce aluminum scrap. The scrap is what's used in combination with quartz, which also gets produced along with the alumina solution, to produce the aluminum ingots, and then eventually the aluminum casings. The problem that we're running into is we're producing way more aluminum scrap than we need. We're not producing enough quartz that we need, and we're producing way more alumina solution than we need. So therefore, because it's a liquid, there's no way to allow for runoff. You have to use, and if the pipes, I've got buffers in there, if they get full, the whole thing comes to a halt. And that's what consistently keeps happening at both of the aluminum facilities. And right now, there is no way to balance it out, because what ends up happening is, even if I reduce the production of alumina solution, the problem with that is it's also therefore reducing the amount of silica that gets produced. And that obviously is an issue. Because that's what gets used in combination with the aluminum scrap, which, as I said, we're producing way more than we need right now to produce the aluminum ingots. Now, if we could counterbalance it by producing more silica from someplace else, then we could produce at the right speed. We would still have an alumina solution problem, but at least we would be able to keep the production of aluminum casings up at a good pace, which right now we can't do. Okay, so that's motors. All right, I need one more storage unit here, except for it's got to go the other way. This is the cooling systems, which we're having the exact same problem with, which is why I was only able to get 650 instead of 800, which is what we need. Okay, and then this does not have power yet. We should be able to just grab it from there. Okay. I think this will get our turbo motors up and running while we're finishing up the remaining pieces of the steel facility. And one thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to close this in. Oh, we haven't done our zoop yet. There we go. Okay, that's nice and enclosed in. Let me put a ladder now on the outside. Well, I may actually need iron bars in my inventory. I didn't realize that's what ladder, I mean, I guess I should have deduced that that's how ladders were produced, but, you know. Alright, that's concrete. There's iron bars, as a matter of fact. I don't know what half of this stuff... Okay, that's excess computers and excess crystal oscillators. The reason why I'm keeping the excess over here is because I'm only trying to produce a certain number of different things right now because I don't know what I'm going to need for the future. But in the meantime, we've got, I think, what we need for the turbo motors that are now being produced. Oh, crap. And I've got to have someplace to store them. There we go. So we have 3. We have 3 so far. Alright. Now, let's go run up top. Because at this point, I think the majority of the work that we have left to do for the steel efficiency... Okay, so here's the modular frames. And they're producing. So we need to take these and put them into a heavy modular frame, which now I can actually take that and stick that in my inventory. I just realized something. We did not have enough radio control units. That was the reason I went and got aluminum casings in the first place, and then gave you the long diatribe of what's going on and how we're going to have to figure out a way to fix it at some point. Yeah, so what I did a quick scan to see if there was quartz crystal over near the aluminum facility, the aluminum casing facility, and there's none within 1,500 meters. So I don't know what I'm going to do there. Plus, we still have the excess alumina solution problem. I reduced, of the 4 refineries that are producing alumina and silica, I reduced 2 of them down to 50%. And also put in 2 small buffers. That's not enough. There's still too much excess alumina to where they're still going to... And it's still producing enough at a pretty good pace that it's still too much of a problem. So I don't know. I just don't know. Anyway. Alright, this is screws. Okay, what did I think I needed from over there that needed to come over here? Oh, it was screws. That's right, because... I know why. Alright, here's what we're going to do. Alright, I'm going to move this. And we're going to put it... Let me see how much room I have. Okay, we got plenty of room here. Actually, before I do that, let me put... Okay. There. Okay, so that'll be where screws come in from over there. That's first thing. Ooh. Yeah, see, they say that that clips, and I don't see how it does, but... Are these actually producing? Yeah, they're producing at 2 per minute. And it's just amazing how slow modular frames are. Alright, so the reason I did this is because I wanted to make sure that I had space so that when I put in the manufacturer, there was going to be space to run. Alright, we're running heavy modular frames. So we need oh my god, 240 per minute. And then 10 per minute of encased industrial beams. We need steel pipe and the modular frames. Now the modular frames are right here. The problem that we're going to run into now, I didn't realize I needed steel pipe up here too. Well, crap. That means I'm not producing enough steel pipe. Because this was the excess smelter, or refinery, whatever, that I had available to me. God, that is so slow. Oh, hold on a minute. This is taking 10 per minute. I think I'm producing 20. Oh, and I need 40 here. Ah, crap. Crap, crap, crap. Okay, there's that one. There's that. Now I got to figure out what I'm going to do. So encased industrial beams are going to come up from the bottom floor. So we're going to have to do another input-output port from the wall. And it's going to have to be here. Oops. Actually, let me see if it'll let me. No, it won't. Okay. Okay. Let's see. We're going to need another one of these. And that'll be the encased industrial beams. And then I guess I'm going to need another one for steel pipes. Alright, let's see what we can do down on the first floor then. So, here's where the encased industrial beams are. Question is whether or not I can get them out that port. Or am I going to have to do something fancy? Needless to say, I'm trying to make this as clean as possible, and I just don't... Whoa. Nice little sign sitting there in the middle of the air. Alright, so we are producing... Oh, we're producing 30 per minute. And we're merging them together into here, and then that's going out. Oh, okay. Then I can split what I've got coming in to use for the... Okay, good. I don't have to do an extra port. Wall port for this. Alright, that's good to know. Alright, that's excellent. I'm wondering if maybe I shouldn't move this storage unit for encased industrial beams up onto the top floor and just run directly straight up from the assembler. I don't know how I'm going to do it, though, considering how close I am to the wall. I may have to do a little bit of maneuvering. Might not be a bad idea to move this storage unit here, too. Alright, because right now we're not using steel beams for anything other than at some point I'm going to want to put them into a dimensional depot. Okay, so there's that. That gives me a little bit more room here. So that I can slide this assembler over. But I can't slide it back much. Actually, I can't really slide it back at all. Because I'm already having to do some weird gymnastics with the belt coming in from that port. That being said, I could... No, I really can't. Well, I could do... Oh, I know what I could do. That's going to go into the beam. We did that and then changed this. To that. Okay. Okay, so if we put that storage unit, wrong way, and then this went into here. Okay, so now all I have to do is split the steel pipes to get me into here. And I think that's a pretty straightforward problem to solve. Now I just need to figure out how I'm going to do... Oh, I know how I'm going to do this. And I just hurt myself. Yeah, there you go. Nice. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's go ahead and set up the splitter. Which I should be able to do overlapping another object. Oops. Oh, crap. Oh, they won't let me. Alright, is that going to go ahead and work? Because if it is, then I can take it out from this side. Okay, it is. Alright, good. The easiest thing to do is this. And then we will go from here to there. Bingo. Alright, we have all of the pieces that we need to get heavy modular frames producing. We don't have any place to store them at the moment, but, you know. This particular floor isn't quite as clean as I would like it to be, but it is doing things with efficiency. And that was the whole point of this in the first place. I wanted to do this all efficiently. And we are using all of our parts as efficiently as we can. I can't do anything with how long it takes for something to produce. I can't do anything about that. But the only problem now that I have is what I'm going to do with the heavy modular frames that come out of here. Alright, while I'm thinking about that, let's go ahead and we need to get screws from over there into here. And if I remember correctly, I believe that we have a storage unit of them that are not being used currently. But let's take a look. This is all basic. That's iron rods. That's iron rods. Okay, so that's all basic. And I think those are going up. And those are going up. Okay, so let's go to the next floor. If I can find a ladder to get me there. Yeah, I'm not closing in the back of this particular, of the iron facility. Okay. Alright, so this is screws that are going up and being used. This is also screws that are going up and being used. And then this is iron plates. Okay. So let's go up to the 3rd floor. So we have screws that are coming in. Oh my god, we're going from storage unit to storage unit. I'm just trying to figure out where the best place is to take them out of. Hold on a minute. They're coming into another location. Oh, they're not even coming into a storage unit here. These are being used for rotors. Those are being used for reinforced iron plates. Probably best to use this one, which means the storage unit that's right underneath my feet right now. Yeah, so this one. The problem with that idea is that I would have to go out the front. This one is staying full. Alright, we're gonna put a port wall here. And we're gonna go I'm gonna do Mark II, even though it says 240 per minute. The problem is 240 per minute based on the amount that's coming from everything else just doesn't add up. And the amount of time it takes for a heavy modular frame to produce. So I'm going to go Mark II. Now we got to figure out how to get from there over to the other side. Alright, I need a floor. Okay, so there's the port. I have two options, really. I can either belt it down to the ground and then run along the ground and then belt it back up, which would probably make the most sense. But what happens if I end up using a truck at some point to go back and forth, I don't know, to Sulphur? Then that's going to be an issue. But I think it's the smart move. Okay, so we're going to take a Mark II and we will turn it this way. That's in the ground. Oops. Okay. And actually, if I run it along this, it's actually going to be fine because I'm probably not going to build anything here anyway, due to the non-flat nature of the ground. Okay, so I need... First of all, let me get rid of you. It's out of aluminum casings already? I put 600 in there. Alright, well, I mean, it is what it is. Let me see how many turbo motors we've got. 49. We got a ways to go. Alright, what I'm going to need to do is move this out of the way. Shit, I'm just going to go ahead and put the concrete into the... I'm making so much concrete. I'm just going to put it into the fix-it, or into the awesome sink. Actually, you know what? Let's... Ah, I should have known. There we go. So now we have everything that we're going... Or we will have everything that we're going to need for heavy modular frames. And it's coming from one of these two facilities. Now, at some point, I need to enclose these facilities. But I gotta be honest, I'm kind of waiting for Coffee Stain to figure out when they're going to release 1.1 to the public, because that's when they're putting in elevators, and I'm going to want to make room for elevators, I think. Okay. Yeah, it's going to have to be 3 levels high in order to be over top. I'm not even sure that that's going to be over top of the manufacturer. It might even have to go up to 4. Alright, we need to get power to the manufacturer. Where is the nearest power pole? Or did I not even put one in? They're all running off of a wall jack. That's running off. Those are running off of a wall jack. Yeah, I need a wall jack up here. Okay. And 3 is going to be tough. It depends upon how the... Actually, 3 isn't going to be enough. It all depends upon the roofing. If the roofing is angled, we might be okay. But yeah, I think I'm going to actually have to go up 4 wall levels high. In any case, all right, let's put in a wall jack. It really only needs to be a 1. All right. We have heavy modular frames. They're not going anywhere, but we have heavy modular frames. I'd almost like, and this might be a dumb thing to say, I'd almost like to move all of the storage out of the facilities. In other words, anything that we're collecting excess, have them, like, collect down here on the ground. I'm going to think about that, because that might be a good idea. It might not, but it might be a good idea. All right. Well, I am very happy with this. I'm very happy with this. Let's go. I want to take a quick look at roofing before we go head to the computer facility. I really want this larger display sign, but I'm not going to spend 5 tickets for it. I also want to use a light control panel. That's something else I really wanted. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and add that to the cart now, because there's no reason to leave these lights on consuming power. And they work for the lighting that we're using. All right, that's foundations. Okay, tilted walls would be what we would use, I'm guessing, for the ceiling. No. Nope. Fix it roofs. And that costs 6. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so this is where we would be able to put the roofs in place. And then there's the corners, which you would also have to have. Well, not necessarily. If you do the angled roofs down each side, flat all the way across, then you would only need to have a wall along the front that connects to that roof. Instead of having, in other words, the roof would be, with the exception of the outside left and right floor tile, it would be the same. It would be the exact same width, and would be the exact same depth. But what you would have to do is you'd have to have an angled wall to cover each corner, front and back. I have 38 tickets. Alright, you know what? We're going to buy some stuff. Okay. They're not under walls. They're not under foundations. Ah, it's all under architecture. Okay. The reason I bought the industrial beams is I want to put the industrial beams between the pillars as well as between in the middle to basically make it feel like the floor has some level of stability. And then we've been talking about the roofs. So and then the concrete pillar instead of the steel pillars so that I can use I guess it really doesn't matter. The metal pillars still use concrete, they just don't use as much of it. Plus they use iron plates and it allows me to use them for some reason. I did want to put some modern railing on the... Oh, I can't. That's right, I changed that one. I could do it here, though, I think. Yeah. Okay. All right. The efficiency is complete. Now we need to start taking a look at the computer facility. At least until we're done producing turbo motors, and you know, right now we've still got 130 to go. I'm gonna go ahead and just get rid of that. And that. I should probably grab some more iron bars just to make sure that I don't run out, considering I'm pulling them from inventory only. Okay. Oh, one other really quick thing I wanted to do. Let's see if I can figure out. Yeah. There's storage right there. Alright, let's see what this light switch does. That's a power switch. That's not what I want. Oh, where was lighting? Here it is. Alright, a light control switch. Sections off a series of lights, allowing them to be adjusted as a group. Controls all lights connected to the power grid via the light connector. Alright, so we put... Alright, it has to be done on the ground. That's kind of weird all unto itself, but... Okay, so... The problem, then, is... We would have to put it in the middle... Yeah, this is going to be the problem. This isn't going to work the way that I want it to. because the lights are too spread apart, and all you end up doing is bunching up the cabling. And that doesn't work either. Alright. The only other thing I wanted to try and do is figure out a way to get to the 3rd floor from within here. Let me see if I can do it here. Yeah, okay, here we go. Alright, for right now, that will work until we can get elevators. Or, I do in fact move storage down to the bottom floor. Which, I gotta be honest, I would really like to move the excess storage units down to the bottom floor. It's going to require rerouting of belts. But I think it's a better option than filling up the floor with all these excess storage units and then going, oh, well, where's the storage unit that I need to go gather X, whatever X might happen to be. Alright. We are going to wrap up the episode by making a quick trip to the copper facility. Or let's call it the computer facility from now on, because it's doing so much more than copper. But just like what we've been doing with iron and steel, we need to gather the basic materials first. Copper plating, copper wire, cables, which can basically equate to iron bars, iron plates, and screws. And then using those, combined with the plastic that we're bringing from the oil fields, we can produce circuit boards, AI limiters, which require quick wire, computers, supercomputers, all of that kind of stuff. One of the things that I am not currently doing, but I think I can do... So this is full... Well, this is... Okay, this isn't what I wanted. This is the wrong one. Oh, this is the heavy modular frames. Okay. There is... Where'd it go? Or is it back here? It's back here. Yeah, adaptive control units require automated wiring, circuit boards, heavy modular frames, computers, and to create one adaptive control unit. This particular storage unit is full of automated wiring that we're not using. This is filling up with heavy modular frames. Computers, the big problem that we have right now is that computers are being used for supercomputers, which we also need, because supercomputers then get used combined with adaptive control units to produce the assembly director systems, which we're going to need for something else. I forget what it is now. I think it's one of the items up top. Actually, we do need to start figuring out how we're going to produce pressure conversion cubes, which is more radio control units, and then fused modular frames, which means we've got to solve our aluminum problem. We've got to solve that aluminum problem. I'm really getting I'm really frustrated by that. I'm really, really frustrated by that, because it means that the developers implemented that formula set intentionally. The radio control units aren't a big deal. That was the whole reason for setting up the crystal oscillator facility. But we need aluminum casings to produce radio control units along with the crystal oscillators. And then the fused modular frames also require aluminum casings along with heavy modular frames to produce the fused modular frames. So the heavy modular frames that we're producing at the steel facility are going to be used for the fused modular frame production, of which we're going to need 1,000. And then the aluminum casings, though, have to get split between those two locations. And we're just not producing enough. The nuclear pasta may end up having to be the last thing that we produce for Phase 5. It would not surprise me. Okay, so what we're going to need to do is clear all of this out. Situate it. What is the copper plating being used for, by the way? Okay, so copper plating is being used for circuit boards. And then I've got circuit boards there, too. So I'm creating 2 different sets of circuit boards. That's right, because circuit boards are used for both computers and something else. Is it AI limiters? I think it's AI limiters. High-speed connectors. Sorry, high-speed connectors. So I think what we can do... Whoa, I didn't even know. Okay. There was a ladder there. There's one copper. There's the other copper. I think what we do... And by the way, this one is already being set up efficiently. Not space-wise, but it's already being set up efficiently. And it's producing... copper plating... and cabling just for the high-speed connector facility. So these 2 are almost exclusively being used for the high-speed connectors, and then they're being combined with the quick wire. I think we probably keep this because this is already efficient, and then we figure out how to use the other copper vein to efficiently set up computers and supercomputers. Actually, I need to... Oh, I didn't. Supercomputers, computers, high-speed connectors, plastic AI limiters. Okay. So the circuit boards are only being used for the computers on this side of the facility. No. Yes. Hold on a minute. Where are AI limiters coming from? Here. Quick wire and copper sheeting. Okay, so copper sheeting is getting split between circuit boards and the AI limiters. Which means that this vein only needs to be copper sheeting. At the end of the day, this vein only needs to be copper sheeting. Because that's the only thing that copper's being used for. Let me double check this again. Cables. Nope, cables. Although at the end of the day, this particular facility, the high-speed connector facility, is being fed over here. So what we should probably do is move this over and have this be on that side of the facility, and then computers and supercomputers be on this side of the facility, well, along with circuit boards and high-speed connectors. I mean, AI limiters. And then we'll feed the high-speed connectors into the manufacturer that's producing the supercomputers. Now, what we're going to do over here, I don't know yet. One problem to solve at a time. But, of course, as we do all of this, we also want to set things up in a clean way so that stuff is running either through floor ports or wall ports on the outside, things along those lines. And right now, none of that is happening. So there's going to be a lot to do here. But I think we can do it. We just split it into pieces. We'll have the high-speed connector side of the facility. We'll have the computer side of the facility. And then we'll have the heavy modular frame side of the facility. And then we'll make sure that they can be easily interconnected. Because there is no reason in this world why that manufacturer up there that's producing heavy modular frames needs to run a belt all the way down to that storage unit to store the heavy modular frames. Those heavy modular frames were being used as part of the assembly director systems, and anyway, we'll we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, and we'll figure it out in the next episode. So as always, if you have been enjoying the content, please make sure to hit that like, subscribe, or comment button, and hopefully I will see you in a future episode. Talk to you soon.